welcome to episode 129 of our SAP on Azure video podcast. Today is February 2nd, and together with Robert and Goran, we are here to talk about anything related to SAP and Microsoft. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
So we often talk about the huge and wide range of sizes of our virtual machines on Azure. We then also talk about storage with Azure NetApp Files. But on Azure, we actually have several other types of storage available. Just recently, we released the premium V2 storage. So in order to put all of this into perspective, I'm very happy to have Sid joining us today, who will provide us with a good overview on what is available and what you can and should use for your SAP on Azure projects. But as always, before we hand over to Sid, let's take a look at the news from this week. And actually, since we didn't do this for the last few episodes, I think there's a little more than usual, but we'll keep it brief and short so that we can then really focus on Sid. So what I want to start with, we had Ralf on the show where he talked about, well, not only some cool recipes like always, but also ANF Backup for SAP Solutions, and he was actually teasing his blog post. So at that point in time, the blog post was not yet live. Now it is. So once you watch the video, now you can really take a look at the blog post and read through all the information that Ralf had collected. Similarly, on our running SAP applications on the Microsoft platform blog post, there were two additional blog posts, one other from Ralf. Goran.
Yeah, so another one, really interesting one, DB2 installation on Linux on ANF. So he went actually in a really step-by-step. He's installing NetWeaver 7.5 on Slice, I believe, and Oracle 11. One important part is to show, okay, how exactly the disk layout is looking, and then he went into step-by-step actually configuring the storage, formatting, mounting, and then even doing the installation. Okay, I think it's a central system. So definitely always useful. Absolutely always a little bit like a camera on blog, so going to deep dive.
Very detailed, step-by-step.
Yeah, but cool, generally the most valuable is the database. IBM DB2 part, so nice, yeah. And the next one blog is again my beloved topic. Dennis Padilla, really, he's publishing more in DR space, and he did in Linux and Pacemaker. Now he goes into Windows failover cluster for central services, and basically talking the configuration where the Windows services would use a file share. Not a shared disk, but the file share, and file share using Azure files for SMB. And if you go exactly here, he's on the picture, just short. He said basically he used Azure Site Recovery to replicate the Windows cluster machines.
Nice, yeah.
And he would use a robocopy actually to copy directly from one file. You need a two file share. So meaning challenging part is actually that, or maybe full end-to-end story to have really synchronization across the region from file share from one to another one. As we do not have this feature yet for the premium file share, okay, we have for standard, which are not used for the SAP. So he went into describe the detailed procedure how to copy those kind of stuff with the robocopy. So basically you could set it up some kind of scheduler to do it, and what do you need, he described in detail, what do you need to do on a secondary site after the failover in order to reconfigure it. And it's not much to do, but he did it really nicely in deep dive detail. So absolutely very helpful and very needful, right? Very needful. Again, it's not for the shared disk. For shared disk, we can't do it yet, but with the file share is there. So nice. Yeah. So
Goran, looking at this blog post, when can we expect a blog post from you about HA and Windows? I mean, that's your topic, right?
Yes, it's my topic, but it's
no time.
Some other stuff. Yeah, I was thinking about maybe some topics like preventing planned and unplanned downtime with high availability. It's come this topic very often, So generally, there is no, I mean, the end user and processes, they do not care why do you have it, but HA is not just for the unplanned, but also for the planned, minimized or preventing the plan. Maybe something this direction, yeah.
I'll keep bugging you.
Okay, okay.
Cool, thank you, great. Then moving on, the team around PVN. So I think we talked about, we had Uma from SAP on the show some time ago, where we started to talk about event-driven architectures and more specifically the implementation of SAP events with Azure services. So with Azure Event Grid and other Azure services. And now PVN and the team at SAP, they're very busy, or they were very busy and created a really nice blog post series. So really covering all kinds of different aspects on how this event integration can look like. So first of all, in the context of IoT, then similar like what I also talked about, or Uma talked about, the whole Teams integration, the different frameworks that are available on the BTP. So I think this is a really nice blog post series that talks about the whole eventing scenario. And actually, this is really something that I see now happening with customers. So in the past, it was all architects had some theoretical discussions that we need to go to event-driven architectures. But I think now we're at the time where I actually see this being implemented at customers. So I think this is a very timely blog post series, and you should definitely check it out. One other topic that has been around for over a week now, and I think everyone is talking about it, OpenAI. I guess most of you have played around with ChatGPT, and honestly, I think it's absolutely mind-blowing what you can do with that. I mean, there are a lot of issues still, I would say. So you really need to look at the answers with a grain of salt. But actually, if you work with it, it's just fantastic what you can do. And if you use it, especially in the development area, I think this will completely change the way how we develop and how we interact with our systems. And luckily, OpenAI and Microsoft just announced that we would extend our partnership and continue to invest and continue to collaborate with OpenAI. So one of the results of this collaboration is actually something that Satya mentioned during the Davos World Economic Forum that happened 2 weeks ago or something like that. And there is a really interesting interview with Satya Nadella where he talks in general about Microsoft positions and Microsoft's take on the current world situation, stuff like that, and how he sees the future and Microsoft involvement there. And he also specifically talks about OpenAI and how the infusion of all these AI functionalities in Azure, in Office, in the whole Power Platform will dramatically change how users are actually interacting with software. And then in the same forum, there was also an interview. It is in German, but it's definitely worth listening to with the CEO of SAP, Klein. And basically a similar discussion, but obviously now with a view from SAP. And what was, for me, really interesting was also Christian's statement around, again, OpenAI. I mean, obviously, there was this question how SAP is thinking and using about OpenAI. And Christian clearly said, well, look, SAP has been working with Microsoft on these topics for a long time. And obviously, we are, I mean, obviously, I cannot reveal too much there, but we are working very closely with SAP. And there are really some amazing things happening also in our collaboration around OpenAI with SAP. So if you have time, this one is a little shorter than the one from Satya, but it's also definitely worth to watch. Now, moving on, it's Gartner Magic Quadrant season. And just 2 days ago or something like that, there was the Gartner Magic Quadrant for iPaas released. And interesting or not interesting, SAP is clearly here in the leader quadrant. So obviously with the SAP CPI, the Cloud Integration Suite that is available on BTP, I think that is clearly one of the reasons why SAP is so strong in this area. We also obviously see, or luckily we also see Microsoft here with the Azure integration services. But I think it's great to see that both Microsoft and SAP are really here in the leader quadrant. Speaking of these magic quadrants, if we take a look at the low-code area, so enterprise low-code application platforms, there it's also great to see Microsoft in the leader quadrant. So with the whole Power Platform, I think Microsoft is extremely well positioned to have a very strong play here in the low-code area. Obviously, as you know, as we've talked about several times, also with the Power Platform, you can very well integrate in SAP. So that's something that we see with a lot of customers, that they're using the Power Platform to integrate in SAP. And actually, one of our colleagues, Ronald Knienieder, has written a really nice article on LinkedIn on a SAP and Power Apps use case for truck compliance. And it's a really cool, interesting story, because he starts on the journey, like there's a paper-based process on how to secure and how to document how you load a truck, and then he talks about how you can make this much more compliant by using a simple app. So here, an app that could be available on an iPad that the trucker can use, and instead of filling out papers, they can just use this Power App to fill in all the relevant information, to take pictures and document these information, to sign the documents. And it's a really nice use case that shows how easy and how helpful the combination of the SAP of the Microsoft Power Platform with SAP is. So I think that is definitely something to check out. One, or almost the last one, but definitely a very, very important one. Our Martin Pankratz has published another blog post. I actually don't know which number we are. So Martin is really expanding this series of private link, and this time he's focusing on Azure Cosmos DB with private link. And that's actually a really, really cool scenario, because now from the business technology platform, you can now connect to Azure Cosmos DB services via private link. And obviously that opens up again some really cool and interesting integration scenarios. And he is very, very busy working also with other colleagues to improve the whole experience, how to deploy, how to install this scenario, how to set up and configure it. So if you are interested in using Cosmos DB in your scenarios, you should definitely check out the blog post here from Martin. And as always, everything is documented on GitHub, so you can easily get started with this. Final one before we hand over to Sid is something that I again personally was very much involved. So I'm really happy to see this. The SAP S/4HANA app in Teams is now available on the Teams App Store. So if you go to the link here, or if you search for it, you should be able to install it in your Teams environment. And if you have, I mean, right now you have to have an SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition system, then you can really enable this experience. I think we talked about this in the past, that you can share links directly from your S/4HANA system in Teams. And as we said, this is just the starting point, and we'll definitely see more of that going forward. I mean, right now you can share, if you have your S/4HANA screen, you can just share this now in Teams, but there's definitely more to come. So that was a quick, fast rundown. I hope some of the news was interesting to you here. So with that, let's hand over to Sid. So Sid, maybe you can start by introducing yourself. What are you doing at Microsoft? And then I'm really looking forward to your presentation.
Sure. Hey, thanks, Holger. Hi, Robert and Goran. Thanks for having me here. I am a principal product manager at Microsoft. So I basically wear two hats. One of it is I own the SAP and Azure storage roadmap strategy and those products, the complete product line. And I also run our most critical M-series software and the control plane under the umbrella of mission critical platforms. So all features that improve the reliability, all features that improves our, I would say, flexibility and availability of our M-series platform. I think that it's in my portfolio. I think we'll be talking. I think we'll be talking about the storage today. I think I'm looking forward to coming back and chatting more about all the great stuff that we're doing with M-series on the software part of it. So a lot of exciting news on the M-series coming up later this year as well.
We should definitely do that. We should definitely do this. I mean, I think when Jürgen Thomas had joined us for the closing of 2022, basically, he also talked about the 24 or almost 24 terabytes virtual machines that we have now, where we have some customers live on this already. And maybe it would be really fantastic, yeah, to have you in one of our next episodes to talk about M-series in general. I think that would be really great.
Absolutely. I think all the heavy lifting that you've been doing for the last 18 to 36 months is coming to kind of a nice culmination over the next few months. So definitely, in a few months, I think we should come back and like touch upon all the good stuff that we're releasing for our customers.
Perfect. Let's do that. We'll find a slot. Sounds great.
Yeah. But
as you said,
I know you guys are loaded all the time, so definitely we'll start working to find a slot. This is a very popular show, I can tell you that.
Perfect. Good, but now today we want to focus on storage.
Sure.
So should I share your presentation?
Absolutely. Go ahead and share the presentation. I'll give a little bit of an overview about the storage and the storage offerings that we have, and we can talk about all the good stuff that's coming up in the next few months. So I think it'll be a good start.
Perfect. And I like that actually, SAP Certified Storage, because that already implies, I mean, we have a lot of storage, but not everything is allowed to be used in an SAP system. So we're mainly really talking about certified storage for SAP workload here.
Absolutely. I mean, anything and everything will have to pass our SAP benchmarks and SAP scrutiny. And SAP workload by nature, I think one of the key elements is storage. And there are some very hard requirements from SAP side, especially with the HANA side of it, which we need to satisfy for SAP to say, okay, hey, it's good to go. And given the nature of the public cloud, it's like, it's always available. It's like always expansive and other stuff. We still have to work around those parameters and requirements to ensure that SAP workloads can run really comfortably on the public cloud. In this context is Azure. And most customers are increasingly realizing that, okay, hey, one of the key construct for running SAP infrastructure on Azure is storage. And it does come to computers like sizes, right? Memory size, etc. Relatively, and I would say a straightforward choice. Not an easy choice, straightforward, relatively easier. But storage can come with like few combinations, and I like to kind of like throw more clarity to empower our customers and partners make decision. So with that being said, I think let me start from the far left on my screen. Standard HDD and standard SSD. Typically, we don't recommend either of the storage to be used in tandem with M-series. So M-series are most critical offering with respect to SAP Compute. So neither of these storage, I think we recommend to use first M-series. Rather, we discourage for a large part of it. That's more for non-production or kind of like a playground system. So customers would like to get things started there. I think for the installing in D series or E series VMs, I think attach this and play around a bit. Sometimes standard SSD can be used for storing some of the backups, etc. But the restore process can take quite a bit if you're looking for a quick restore. So need to be thoughtful about how we choose those. And those standard ratings are available. How much IOPS in each of these disks, etc. is available, and also you have to kind of like ensure that you mix and match it with the VM throughput as well. So I think that's something to keep in mind. So those ratings are available. So I think for pretty much for backup is where I think standard SSD comes into play. And like, if you want to have a very small system running, or you want to just like get started with something, you can do that. But having said that, most of the customers in our platform prefer premium SSD for their production workloads, and even for the critical non-production workloads. So your pre-prod or even QA, I think that's where customers use premium SSD. I would say it's a core of our offering. And today it can go up to 32 terabyte, and it can go roughly about 20,000 IOPS per disk. Write latency is even on a vanilla premium disk is really good. Something in order of a millisecond. But with write accelerator, it can be like really fast. So I think that's something to keep in mind. So our certified configuration, but especially for log disk, is to use a write accelerator. Data disk, you're good to go without the write accelerator. And for production backup, I think, as I said, I think backup is one part of it, but like restore is the other part of it. And for restore, there's a lot of reads, and that happens, especially there's a lot of throughput and IOPS that are pumped into the disk. And for production usage, we always recommend using premium SSDs. The next evolving aspect of our premium SD V2. So in this particular configuration, premium V2, I think we hand over a lot of power back to our customers. For the SSD, premium SSD comes with pre-baked IOPS and throughput. Of course, you can burst it with bursting credits and other aspects, but to have more configurable IOPS and throughput, I think that's one of a key element with premium SSD. And you can also configure a little bit of a toggle that you want to go with the sizes of the disk. So that eliminates the requirement to do striping at some cases for more throughput, etc. So I think premium SSD is definitely the future of our offering. And once we'll talk a little bit more about what's there in the roadmap for premium SSD V2, and we'll see what's coming up, when to use, and like in which scenarios it's applicable. Mostly all scenarios, the end state of premium SSD V2 is all scenarios SAP. If you like to use, especially for database workloads, I think that's where it's going to be supported. One key element also to note is you don't have to use any write accelerator if you have to use premium SSD V2. So I think that comes with a little bit of a loaded latency aspect of it. You can still go use write accelerator if you want like ultra low latency at some point in time. We don't. We'll let the customers know and partners know when you can use write accelerator with premium SSD V2. With Ultra Disk, it is for, again, super high fidelity workloads. When I call that, it's that ultra high performance, ultra high throughput. If you want customers like, running like, like tens of terabytes of the production system, they would like to have a storage that supports that. I think that's where I think our niche offering on Ultra Disk exists today. Again, it comes with a dynamic scaling of IOPS and throughput. So I think that's again a very niche offering, put it that way. So coming back to Azure NetApp Files, so it is a first-party offering in partnership with NetApp. And we are the only cloud, Azure is the only cloud that allows, or that, certified by SAP for HANA scale out with a standby node. So I think that is powered by the NetApp configuration. Like basically there's an NFS protocol that powers that. So typically with iSCSI or even any NVMe disk, right? That comes with other great benefits, but with respect to the standby node configuration, you need the NFS protocol to work. So I think that's something that for database and HANA scale-outs and others customers use a lot. One another scenario I think where customers love about using our Azure NetApp offering is snapshot, rapid snapshot, replication, restore, cloning, and all those aspects of it is really easy and flexible. And that's the, I mean, it is more to do with how the protocol works and that comes with also like a lot of innovation that comes with NetApp itself, who has been in the industry for a long time. And that's where customers tend to use Azure NetApp Files. One thing which is actually missing in this particular slide, I think in more the next slide, is we spoke a lot about our database layer, where premium SSD V1, V2, NetApp, and Ultra Disk come into play quite a bit. But for the application layer, today we're using for Windows mostly around SOFS or even Azure Files, etc. For NFS, I think customers use Azure NetApp Files and also a traditional, I would say NFS VMs and and then you push in the shard, etc. We made everything easy a couple of years back for the especially application layer perspective, where we came up with our SAP I would say files for NFS for both application layer and for interface directories. I think this can be used. We are making significant strides, and I would say product features will come in the next few months to make it I would say even better. So today, I think if you had to touch about the roadmap, snapshot support, and and Azure backup integration, I think those things are coming up as the roadmap for Azure Files. So we are definitely seeing a lot more customers adopt this because of the ease of use, etc.
Yeah.
You're using in like traditional, having VM solution, NFS server, and mounting your NFS shares in the production VM. I think it kind of introduces an additional layer of complexity. I think this architecture makes it really simple especially for SAP MMD transport and interface directory.
And especially across the zones, right? Because it's really zonal redundant, very popular for zonal HA. Correct.
And you're absolutely right, Goran. It does come with Ziara's capabilities and for zonal HA, etc. I think NFS premium files definitely comes into play. And so with that, I think I'll see if there are any questions from Robert or Goran, and then I can quickly talk about what's coming up with respect to premium V2 and also Azure Files.
So actually, then let me ask you one question. So we had the list. Or actually, let me quickly go back to the slide with the different storage options. And when you take a look at that, do you see a trend from customers? Like what are they? What is the? I mean, there's probably not a typical customer, but what do you see mostly used? I mean, for example, I can tell. I'm still a huge fan of the SAP Cloud Appliance Library, where I can just deploy my sandbox system. And honestly, from a pricing perspective, I have some systems that just use standard SSD because I know, I mean, it's not supported, but it's good enough for me. And you're saying here non-prod DBMS, and that's exactly my case. So for me, standard SSD is the perfect fit. But I guess when we look at really production workload, I think you mentioned that premium SSD V1 has obviously been used mainly by customers in the past, but I guess there's now a trend towards V2 and Azure NetApp Files, or what do you see?
So I think for letting customers choose, I think here's what I'm particularly witnessing is that there are customers who are running scale out. We can go into some of our reference customers, right? I think it's a public case study about I think one of the I would say, cool drinks manufacturer, soft drinks manufacturer in North America. They run roughly about a 48 terabyte HANA system. There's a retailer who runs a 100 terabyte Oracle system.
Yeah,
and they need snapshots. And there is another medical manufacturer who's global outside of the US who's looking to run a 90 terabyte HANA scale out.
HANA. Scale out. Yeah.
Yeah, and so all those customers who are looking to run huge systems on HANA scale out, they choose NetApp because of the ability to do the standby node. And I talked about the Oracle system, right? Customer really love the ability to take snapshots and given the VM profile too, right? As I said, the NFS protocols comes with certain advantages, especially the network throughput, etc. So, and customer want a little bit more network throughput compared to what a traditional storage throughput provided. So again, that is one of the reasons why customer choose Azure NetApp Files. Now, majority of our customers are running on premium SSD V1 for the production workloads. And be it HANA, be it like SQL, Oracle, DB2, customers are super happy about it. It does remember also that premium SSD comes with some native integration features like ASR, Azure Site Recovery, or Azure Backup integration, and like ability to take HANA snapshot through Azure Backup, etc. Customers love that, and that's the reason they choose premium SSD V1. So Premium SSD V2 was announced. It was actually GA'd around our SAP TechEd last year. So we definitely, given the fact that we provide a lot more levers back to our customers to configure size, throughput, IOPS, etc. I think definitely customers will see an uptick in we expect uptick in SSD V2. But of course, SSD V2, we'll open up our public documentation, and then we'll talk about the aspects, the boundary conditions in which today the premium SSD V2 is offered, and we'll see how we kind of expand the boundaries a bit. For customers who want like there are some customers who want like a kind of this iSCSI NVMe kind of performance, and they want it on disk. And those offers, those scenarios, definitely customers are using UltraDisk. So very specific, as I said, so it's a niche offering. So UltraDisk is a niche offering. To kind of sum it up, I think if you want HANA scale out with a standby node, or ultra quick ability to clone and create those share snapshots, etc., NetApp I think will work. Snapshots also work great with premium SSD V1, but depending upon what your profile is, as I said, the protocol does provides a little bit of an advantage, or each has its own advantage. So I think customers like they will love premium SSD V1 as well. And then once we have as I said, expand the boundaries on premium SSD V2, definitely customers can use premium SSD V2 as well. So something to keep in mind, premium SSD V1 and V2 are kind of a traditional storage protocol. They're not on NFS, right? You can use it as an NFS, but you have to get an NFS server for that. So if you want to really use the shares for application layer, we'll have to use our Azure files. Does it answer your question, Olga?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I would say from a performance V2, when you look compared to the V1, which is a bread and butter, as you say, yes. I mean, by default, sub-millisecond latency, which means you can use for not just on M series, but on E series as well. And it's not just for the log disk, but for basically any data disk and all the databases. So that's really cool to see. I mean, these kind of latency throughput IOPS is crucial for the DB performance, meaning also an overall SAP performance, right? So this is really encouraging to see it. So I'm looking forward to hear some new features and roadmap what is coming.
Absolutely. I mean, like as I said, right? I mean, like we want to do the best for our customers, and like technically, once we kind of like a full-fledged offering of premium as DB2, the TCO also we are working towards ensuring that premium as DB2 provides better TCO for our customers as well. As I said, right, the entire offering that I talk about, like storage in tandem with the M series, which I promised to come and speak about in a few months. It is about making operationally easy for our customers, providing better features, and like basically what Satya keeps saying, right? Do more with less, right? So it also means that we have to go work hard, especially in our macroeconomic conditions, to go provide better TCO for our customers and like options that will make in the architecture simplified, etc. I think that's where we are going towards, and like that's the theme you will start seeing very, very clearly in both our compute and storage offering, especially in the context of SAP.
And I think when you mentioned the less part, yeah, I think it's very important that V2 is in some combination much cheaper than V1, yeah. And if you consider that you can somehow create the price based on different settings you have on the storage, how big storage is, how big throughput is, and how much IOPS you have, and combine that, and also combine that with stripe set if you want to have stripe set, yeah? Then you can really achieve huge savings in compared to V1. I think this is an additional plus on top of V2 performance.
Absolutely, Robert. I think I also like to say this anecdotal, as most of you know, I've been working on SAP and Azure for like 9 years now. Also, the market shift and the customer and partners are more informed. So when we started a premium V1 offering, we had to go a little bit more recommended architecture, a little bit of like pre-baked solution. Now customers like, hey, I want more control. I want to control more IOPS and throughput. I want more levers that I can play with, right? I think that's where I think this entire premium V2 construct fits in. So as I said, right, I think as the industry keeps moving, I think we are actually also influencing a lot about how the industry also moving towards. So I think you see the premium V2 coming up, and like we are maturing offering across the board. So
yeah, that's Robert, really good point, because premium V2 is really kind of fully cloud separated service. So meaning you pay for differently for the size, for the IOPS, and for throughput. If you need more, okay, you dynamically increase it, no downtime. You pay more. I don't know, you need, because certain period of time, you need more storage performance. When this is gone, you downsize it, so that's really cool. Basically, you are paying for what you are really using or needing, and change those kind of, performance layer without any kind of downtime, again, which is important for the availability, right? So that's nice. I like those.
And additional to that, to this dynamic up and down, if you have some kind of static system, or at least some kind of static system where you don't expect such a huge growth in several years, you can still use the stripe set with V2 in a way that you can say. That you can say, because on every disk you have predefined 3000 IOPS, I think, and 125 megabit per second. Yeah. So you can say, okay, I need more, but you can split that in small chunks, because you can say, okay, I need 3 times 133 gigabyte storage, and you will treat 3 times more IOPS, 3 times more throughput, probably with less price if you somehow on one disk try to extend that. So the flexibility is amazing on V2. Yeah, not just on the pricing side, you can really polish it to your needs, and sometimes really save a huge amount of money on the storage side. Mm-hmm. I like it. It's very, very dynamic on almost all dimensions, so to say.
Absolutely, I think you bring up a very good point. You can still go stripe, if you want to do in premium V2. But one thing I'll caveat: you don't have to stripe it for RAID reasons. So I think the storage and disk that we provide in our platform is already hacked. And we are taking care of enough failure points. So you don't have to do it for RAID reasons. But if you want to do it for other reasons, like what Robert mentioned, you can go do the striping. Yeah.
Cool. So what is the roadmap then? What's coming?
Yeah. So let's talk about a little bit of the premium SSDB2, and let's talk about what the boundary conditions today is, and then we can see, okay, hey, what is coming up. First, let me talk about the second bullet here, region availability. So it's available in US East and Western Europe at the moment. You will see in the next, I would say, definitely in the next 12 months, we will see a lot more regions light up. And if you have any particular question about which region is coming up for any of the customer or partner watching the show, reach out to us, and we can give you a little bit more, I would say, accurate data about when things are going to land in a particular region. So I want to say that. And let's scroll up a little bit. So you should, with regards to limitations, let's talk about the third one here, snapshots, right? Snapshots. It's in progress. It's cooking right now, and the chef is almost ready to deliver. So you should, within a matter of weeks, we should see snapshots coming up. And again, like AV set support is cooking as well, and Azure Backup support is cooking as well. And we're looking into enabling the encryption as well. So I think it's already supported. So it'll be GA'd, later part of this year. We should see the live resize, online resize, etc. also coming up at the later part of this year. So I think the key features that we're looking at, around snapshots or AV sets, especially for SAP customers who are still on AV sets, I think you should see all these things light up. One thing to also note, I think we'll talk about a little later, is that the entire AV set construct also is shifting. So we are moving towards what we call it as VMSS Flex, virtual machine scale set. So I think we are moving into that construct, and we encourage customers to deploy zonal. So I know AV sets, it's something that we started with. If customers would, a lot of customers like it for various reasons, right? Especially on latency and stuff, and the high availability, within a particular zone. But zonal architecture, I think the envelope also is zonal envelope also is provide good performance compared to where we were much earlier. So zonal is a recommended configuration. But if you like to still scale out, etc., the AV set construct is changing towards more VMSS Flex. That's another thing that we like to, and I like to come back and speak about, when it's a little later. I think it's going to be more like second half of this year. So why don't we also, this kind of where we are directionally headed with premium SSDB2. I think same thing for Azure Premium Files as well. So you would see, most of the regions does have Premium Files offering. And if you kind of click into the features, I think the encryption element is kind of cooking as well. Anytime, it's a lot of cooks in the kitchen for sure. So cooking all these features for us, you should see that encryption will also land in mid of this year. We should also see snapshot support and Azure Backup integration also kind of land at a kind of I would say later half of this year. I think that's where we're directionally headed. Don't quote me on all the roadmap items. Is of course, something that we are planning and we're doing, and given all the things that are going on around the world, I think it's very directionally headed. Yeah. That's why I want to say it's okay. It's all direction which you're going towards, and if you want any specific decisions to be made for more contextual or subjective deep dive, we are happy to come back, and you can reach out to me. And my email is siddrab@microsoft.com, sidrab@microsoft.com, and reach out to us, and we'll be able to give you a little bit more targeted guidance if you like.
Perfect. Sid, thank you so much. I think that was a very comprehensive, very good overview of all the different storage options, the recommendations. Also, I like what you said here. There's a lot of stuff cooking in the kitchen, and it's clear that we'll see some cool new features in the future. So thanks very much for that.
Absolutely. I think more regions, more features. I think we are actually all the cooks are working overtime to deliver all these things for our customers. So as I said, right, I think we want to move towards the direction of, as Satya keeps saying, do more with less. So we want to enable quick for customers. Right?
The feast is coming for the less money,
The feast is coming, yes.
Actually, it's it's a large. It's going to be a little bit of a large buffet offering. You're going to it's going to be a little bit difficult to make some good choices between the gravies and the curries and appetizers. So that's good. It's good. So.
I have to say, Goran, let's first jump and then say, not the vice versa. So one question, Sid, I know that it's very naively to ask something like that, but, customer and partner take assumption, okay, this is block storage, both of them, version 1, version 2. So automatically they ask, okay, is there any way to transfer something to version 1 to version 2? I know the answer, but I want to maybe to also have that on video from your side.
So let's go with the answer that you have, and can I help you build with that? So because I do come with an internal perspective. So Robert, you work a lot with partners. What's the perspective that you have, and then I can build on that.
I didn't get the question. What's more?
So you said you know the answer. So yeah. I want to. What is the perspective? I want to see. I want to hear from you what answer you have, and then I'll help to build on it. Yeah.
Yeah, in most cases, partner like managed service providers, they somehow managing the customer systems, and they have already some landscapes, and they already have something problem with generation 1 on M series, and they want to support it to generation 2. So they get it. They need to do the physical migration. But now they will like to take the advantage of V2, and especially customer will like to have that because of potential savings, potential maintenance options, and so on and so on. So they're asking, okay, how to migrate systems which are based on V1 to systems based on V2? That was the main question. Yeah.
So yeah, I get that. So I think the available solution right now is a snapshot migration. Take from premium V1 and get this from V2 can do that. There's an entire team, as I said, who's working on to optimize this entire process. To make it relatively easier for our customers. It could be, both first party and also we are exploring other options to go accelerate the entire process of doing that. So it's a good segue to a little bit of what I wanted to share also. If customers are wanting to go do a mass migration from V1 to V2 at a point in time when a lot of features are cooked and available, reach out to us. And we do have some options that that is not kind of like a GA announcement ready, etc. But we're happy to work with our customers with and also give a roadmap about what's coming up to help that facilitate that migration process.
Okay, great. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. I think with that we are good at the end. Again, Sid, thank you so much for joining us. And as you said, we'll definitely see you again for an update on the M series, some insights there. And I'm sure when we'll have new informations on storage, it would be really great to see you also again here on the show.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Yeah, as I said, all the heavy lifting has been going on for 36 months, 36 months. I think it's going to this year of, I would say the moment of truth, right? So I think there's a year of truth. So I think, we'll have more opportunities and exciting updates coming up in the next few months. Thanks a lot for having me on the show. And nice to talk to our customers and partners of the show as well. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. See you next time.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.